Guess what dollar amount you have to make per year to be in the top 1% of the entire world?
What's that?
No, I want you to guess.
Sometimes we look to the left and look to the right. God, why I get this? Why I got? God's like, are you taking care of the beat up car that you currently have? I know that check engine light on right now, and you want a Mercedes? You know what I'm saying?
That's crazy. I think we can be grateful and disappointed. I think we can be grateful and sad. I think we can be grateful and hurt.
Keep going. I don't know.
What do you
You're talking. I'm listening.
What does joy and gratitude look like in the season where there's so much change?
That's deep because I'm going through that right now.
The thing is, they don't just complain. They say it would have been better for us to be back in slavery. And it's like, you have clearly forgotten.
Ooh, that got to be an episode on its own. When I send wifey the receipts from bills paid.
What does she say?
She was like, thank you, baby. Thank you. She definitely, I'm not going to lie. Even though that's what I'm supposed to do. Like, yeah, you better be grateful. Thank you. Welcome back to another episode of the Finding Harmony podcast. I am your co-host, Drew Harmony.
And I'm your co-host, Davrielle Gardner.
Yes. And this particular episode is a bit special. This is for the holiday season. This is for Thanksgiving. This was an episode I know Davrielle wanted to do. So I'm actually going to yield to her in this one and let her kind of take the reins of this episode. But we're dealing about Thanksgiving and gratitude. So Dav, I'll pass it on to you. And yeah,
you know, it's November. It's getting nice and crisp.
Yes.
At least our version of crisp here in the Bahamas.
Right. As you can see, it's still sunny and bright.
Low 70s, nice and chilly, as we would call it. But yeah, it's coming to that season, really. We're kicking off the holiday season. And the first being...
And I must say, this is my season of the year. I would say I am a big family person. I love the big gatherings. My parents both come from big families, so I'm just used to having everybody around the fire. Not the fire.
I'm like
around the fire stove, you know. But just going to family houses and visiting, and now obviously we've been married 3 years now, going on 4. Just having experiencing your family as well. So it's good. I'm happy. I am on my fitness journey. Okay, guys, I am still on my road for my 6-pack, but this is when it gets.
That's what you want Santa to bring you for Christmas.
This is when it gets trying, but I'm grateful that I'm in this season, in this space, and we'll talk about that. Where, I'm going to be battling these Thanksgiving meals. So, with that being said,
just focus on the turkey.
I don't eat turkey. I need the crab and rice. You see, I'm still a Bahamian. I need crab and rice for my holidays. This is not just for this day, but through the holidays as well. So
what's interesting to me, I never really, Thanksgiving is not an actual holiday in the Bahamas. So we knew about it, but we weren't really into it. Only in recent years, I feel like people have started cooking Thanksgiving meals, having Thanksgiving dinners at home. And it wasn't until I went off to college that I got to go to a real, quote unquote, Thanksgiving. And I would go to different friends' houses, and it was such a nice tradition. I felt like it was Christmas without the presents, really. You had the whole family together. You're sharing this beautiful meal. You're talking about all the things that you're thankful for. And even though it has a contested history, based off of the history of the United States, I think what it has evolved into is very important. A moment to reflect, a moment to gather with your loved ones, to celebrate all the wonderful things about your life, and to be thankful and to pause. And so I do think that's worth celebrating. Yes. And that's what's theming today's episode.
Yes.
Of Finding Harmony. I also like anything pumpkin and sweet potato. Cinnamon, it's just the vibes, right?
Yes.
I also love the Thanksgiving vibes. But what it did make me think about is gratitude, right? I think that maybe not in our circles, but in the world at large, gratitude is becoming a lost art. So many people are so angry all the time. When it comes to, even when we're making purchases, we're sitting at a restaurant, we're engaging with somebody else, we have such high expectations of what ought to happen that it's very difficult to be grateful, particularly if something doesn't go along to your liking. But I also think that's making us very cold and 100%. Very mean. And so, yeah, I want to focus today on the importance of gratitude. So, the first question I would have for you, Drew,
And gratitude in every season.
right?
Yeah.
Do you think gratitude is becoming a lost art?
Oh, 1000%. I feel because of the lack of gratitude, you have more people who are depressed, more people who are anxious, more people who are not living up to their fullest potential because they're so busy comparing themselves to each other. Um, I believe it was Tony Robbins who said this. He was like, it's impossible to be grateful and angry at the same time.
Mm,
And I was like, no, really? And I tried it. Literally in moments when you feel angry or upset or, just not feeling well, if you just turn on the grateful button and you actually start thinking about all the things in your life, from the simplest things,
mhm,
God, I just thank you. I can get up and walk. I'm in my right mind. I have food on the table today. You know what I mean? I have shelter right now. And obviously you could find all the things that's going wrong. But if you start to literally, I have breath in my body, like I can wake up today and try
mhm,
again, you will literally feel the shift in your body and from that negative energy to more positive energy. And I feel like that's a lost art. And for me, a lot of people will see me around smiling and happy. At one point in my life, it was I wouldn't say a facade, but it was something that helped me protect people from getting closer when I was
mm,
really depressed and
mhm,
feeling angry and things of that nature. But now I'm truly grateful because I practice gratitude a lot and I'm more happy, I'm more pleasant because there are times when life is not going the way that I want it to go, but I literally just like, wow, God, you brought my baby girl into the world.
mhm,
Like she was in the NICU
mm,
and you delivered her and we have her now. And so happy. I have this beautiful wife. I have this podcast going on. And honestly, and it's not even to the point where I'm thinking of all the things he's done for me or things that I have acquired, but literally just for who he is, I'm just like so grateful because I've seen his hand in my life, in my friend's life, in my parents' life. And I'm just like, wow, I'm just thankful. Like my life could have been so much different right now.
mhm.
But because of you, because of, just your gratefulness, your grace, I'm here, and I feel that helps me keep center. And every day is not perfect,
Mhm.
obviously. There are times I'm still gonna be mad. And most times, if I go the whole day angry, it's because I didn't practice gratitude.
Mhm.
I didn't look around and think and reflect on what I have and what is in front of me. So for sure it's definitely a lost art.
Yeah, I think that people, for the Western world, right?
Mhm.
What people take for granted, people talk about the 1%.
Phew.
The reality is, if you live in the Western world, the Western hemisphere, you're probably in the 1%.
Mhm.
Guess what? Guess what dollar amount you have to make per year to be in the top 1% of the entire world?
What's that?
No, I want you to guess.
The dollar amount,
Annual income
annual
to be
income?
in the top 1% of the entire world.
It's probably very low, but I was like, what, 10,000 a year?
Okay, no, that
That
was
was extremely
overshooting
low.
it.
Okay, I
Way to
got you.
overshoot it. Okay, no, but it's $30,000 a year.
30,000.
If
Okay.
you make $30,000 a year
You're in the
or
1% of the
more,
world.
you are in the top 1% of the world. But when
Mm.
we talk about the 1%, we're thinking about the millionaires and the billionaires. So we're not talking about in the US or the Western Hemisphere. In the context of the entire world, if you make more than $30,000 a year,
Mm.
you are in the top 1% of the globe. And that language should shift your perspective to begin with, right?
Mm.
And I'm not saying that people shouldn't aspire and want to create things and want to have things, but we're not appreciating the fact that in the West, we manage to be some of the most ungrateful people in the world, whining, complaining, frustrated with the littlest things, depressed,
Mhm.
overwhelmed, anxious, when we have more than 99%
Of
of
the
the
world.
world.
Yeah.
I had a moment when I used to, and just in the actual active practice of gratitude, when I used to go in the shower, I would tell myself, and I mean, it was sad, and it would make me pray, but I'm like, I'm going to bathe in more clean water
Mm.
than a child is going to have to drink this
Mm.
month. or this week. You know what I mean? And I think we have to apply that kind of radical gratitude to shift our perspectives, because we do take things for granted. And nobody, when you talk about relationships, no person wants to be taken for granted. But we take so much of what life has given us, about what God has given us, for granted. And I do think it's making us a miserable people. And so, that shift of gratitude, I feel like, could be that thing to spark joy.
Are we going to talk about relationships and gratitude?
Sure.
And I'm asking.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll wait. I'm just curious. That's why I'm smiling. I'm like, okay, I'm a reveal some things.
Right. So we know, like, we are incredibly blessed people, but we lose perspective on that sometimes.
Right.
And there are some seasons in life that are harder than others. There are some that are easier than others. So I do want to talk about exploring how gratitude can look in the different seasons of life. So let's start with the spring. This is when life is blooming. This is when you're starting that new relationship, when you just got married, you started a new business, you're doing really well at your job. Sometimes, we're happy in those seasons, but we're not necessarily mindful of all the things that it took us to get there. So how do you practice gratitude in the spring of life?
In the spring of life. I would say for me, once again, it's the pausing factor. Especially when things are just flowing and going great, I'm thanking God, because a lot of times people use this thing where they feel that if everything is going well, something is going to happen right around the corner. The bad is coming. And I'm not, neglecting the fact that there's, seasons in life, there's ups and there's downs, but that's not how I'm going to live my winning season. I'm not going to, like, it was so funny. We was just listening to DJ Khaled's song before this. All I do is win, right? And I'm like, from a worldly perspective, right?
Yeah.
I get it. But even from the concept of, that's a mantra. Like, all I do is win. Even when he's up and when he's down, he's thinking, this is what I do. I'm used to a winning culture in my life. So when I'm in that winning season, I think about winning. I'm not thinking about, okay, this is going to eventually go away, or at least I try to prevent myself from thinking like that, because I'm not going to be present in the moment when all the blessings are coming in. You know what I mean? And according to God's word, God's blessing is going to chase me down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I need to be prepared for these blessings. And whilst I'm in it, I'm not going to be looking to, okay, when is it going to go? When is it going to go? Because I feel like that's when my perspective is going to shift. And I'm not going to be grateful in that moment to receive, and then look around and see, like, wow, God, look where you've brought me. Look what you're doing for me right now. Look what you're doing for my family. Look what you're doing for my friends, you know what I mean? The community. And so for me, how I do that in the winning season is I actually take account and I look around and I thank God for it, because I know this isn't coincidence. You know what I mean? This is a part of God's plan. This is a part of, my doing in terms of my hard work, applying it with faith. So, like, I'm yielding the results. You know what I mean? And life is not going to be perfect all the time. You know what I mean? Right now, I am grateful that we have a platform and a podcast to talk about the things that we want to talk about. However, life right now is not perfect. I'm dealing with family stuff, health things, and things of that nature. Not me specifically, but, these are stuff that I have to juggle. But in this moment, in this season, God, I'm so thankful that we have this podcast, that we can help share, certain things and certain knowledge, So I take account for where I'm at, and I also don't look for the valley. My eyes is to the hills. And I know I have that expectation that it's gonna come, but that's not what my focus is. And I think that keeps me grounded and keeps me grateful for the period that I'm in, this winning season, this spring.
Yeah, I think I couldn't agree more. And I remember I had a conversation with one of my girlfriends, because there is that tendency, right? When you are in a winning season, when you are flourishing, when things are going well, you're like, is this a trap? When is the other shoe going to drop? And that's because we are terrified of joy. I think Brene Brown, she's a psychological researcher. She talked about the fact that the thing that terrifies most of us more than anything else is joy, because it feels so good that your knee jerk is, what's going to take this feeling away from me? What's the next feeling going to be? And what my girlfriend said to me, I was in a new relationship And it seemed to be going well at that moment. And I was having a hard time even enjoying that. And she was like, when you are suffering and when you are sad, you are all in. You feel those feelings fully. Could you feel the joy fully? Could you feel this feeling deeply? And that encouraged me so much. I mean, that relationship didn't work out, but it was like I was missing the fun part. I was missing the moment. I was missing the happiness because I was afraid of what the next step would be. And I think we do that. Like, it's hard for us. We could be, when you buck your toe or if you are recovering from surgery, whenever you feel pain, you feel it fully. You don't feel it with half of your brain. You don't feel it with half of your foot. You feel that pain. And in the same way, we need to feel that pleasure. We need to realize that shielding ourselves or hedging your bets when it comes to joy, it doesn't actually prevent you from suffering. It just robs you of fully experiencing that joy. And so I would say, in the spring season of life, when God is blessing you, when you are flourishing, when you're feeling good, when your family's doing well, savor that, enjoy that, go all in on that, because holding back isn't actually going to protect you. It's just going to dampen the joy that you're experiencing.
Wow.
I guess going on. So when it comes to summer, so to speak, in your life, so spring is like, oh, new possibilities. Summer, I feel like you're knee deep in the winning, and if you think about summer, especially when you were a kid, summer was the best part of the year. No school, do whatever you want to, go into summer camp, you're swimming in the pool, you're going to the beach, you're going on vacation. It's really an abundant time. But I think sometimes when things are abundant, when fun is abundant, when pleasure is abundant, sometimes we can lose sight of the fact that that came from somewhere.
Yeah.
So I feel like we can get caught up in the things and in the stuff and lose sight of gratitude.
So this part is always the tricky part. I feel like this is when we get so busy in our everyday, when the blessings are coming in. Now we don't know what to do with it. Now this is when the anxiety is starting to tick in. And I feel when you put things into the gratitude perspective, this is what you've been praying for. I asked God for this success. Now he's molding me in this right now to be able to take on this load. But I'm here looking left and right, questioning anxiety. Oh, I can't do it. I stress out. But it's like, God is like, my guy, my daughter, this is what you asked me for. You don't think this comes with responsibility?
Yeah.
You don't think this comes with pressure? You don't think this comes with somebody talking about you and smiling in your face? And then you finding out that they not really about, for you? Like, oh, this stuff comes with the abundance. You know what I mean? And when we, once again, put perspective onto it, when we tie them into gratitude, you then put it to, you then shape the conversation where it's like, okay, God, you know what? I asked for this. I'm in an abundant season. Things are going well, but now they're requiring more from me. This is what I wanted. This is the dreams. This is what I've been working for. I thank you. I praise you. I know you're going to give me the knowledge and the wisdom to handle this, but I need you. And honestly, in that abundant season, that's when I actually lock in more with God, because I need his peace. Because your peace that surpasses all the understanding of what's happening right now, I need that. Because I can't balance all the responsibility on my own. All the bills, all the, the marital responsibility, parenthood, etc. Like, now I got to cling on to you during my abundant season. And when I'm in that moment, that's what I'm saying, you know what? Thank you, God. I asked for this, and you have me in it right now. So I got to turn to you. That's how I feel doing my summer abundance season. I put things into perspective of, I asked for this. I received it. Now God help me be equipped to handle it.
That is a beautiful perspective. And I would only add to that, having that perspective that I didn't make all this good happen for myself. Therefore, I'm not responsible to keep it happening.
Oh, come on, give me a little deeper.
Because I think when things are going great, you're like, okay, how can I keep this going? How can I keep things being great? And that is when you start to get overwhelmed. And that is when you start to get consumed. And that's when you start to feel like, oh, okay, what did I do to make this happen? Where's the blueprint?
I'm responsible.
Right, like a
Wow.
joke, a joke that I saw, especially new parents, right? When your baby sleeps through the night, you're like, what was the temperature? How many ounces did we give her last night to eat? Did we put the blanket? Did we use the sleep sack? Because you're trying to recreate it, right? So desperately. And in the same way, it's like, okay, how did I get to this season of flourishing? I need to recreate it. But you forget. It's like,
Wow.
God did it. So as much as you're grateful, you have to be like, okay, I'm going to be responsible. I'm going to do the best I can, but I didn't make this happen for myself and I can't keep it happening for myself. He is the one who's making this happen for me. And I think that it helps you to release a lot of that pressure and
God did.
maintain.
There's
Right.
a
That's
guys,
my
I'm
thing
in
too, right?
McKellen.
Everybody be like, oh, God did, or look at God, but you don't really mean that. The way that you act, the way that you're stressed out, the way that you're overwhelmed, trying to make it keep going, you don't believe that God did it. Because if you did, your perspective would be different. If you did, you would relax.
Your posture will be so different because
Exactly.
you're trying to be in control, but you don't really
You would
mean
not
God.
be stressed out. If you really believed that God did, then you would behave differently. So
Ooh, that got to be an episode on its own. I feel like we just scratched the surface on that one, but that's deep. Yeah, that's deep.
All right. So now we're talking about autumn or the fall, which is what we're in right now. And I feel like it's kind of, at least I would say in terms of our business, we're getting a little bit more mature. We've been through some ups and downs. And so that autumn where, some things are going really great, some things are beautiful. In the fall, that's when the leaves are changing colors and it's so pretty. But that's also when some of the leaves are beginning to die, and they're giving way to something new. So what is that? What does joy and gratitude look like in the season where there's so much change?
That's deep because I'm going through that right now. Like from a business perspective, like this is how I'm even putting it on. Like right now, my team is like totally switching, right? Like the people that I've worked with were like, I would say like the last 3 years, most of them are not with me anymore. I have a new team now. And how it happened, I was a little disappointed and honestly angry a little bit. And I'm like, why, But then when I sat down and said, you know what? During that season, it all worked for the good, if that makes sense. I needed them in that season. They needed me in that season. And we all got what we all wanted out of that season, at least for the most part, And sometimes, especially when we think about failed relationships, whether they be platonic or, romantic, we tend to harper on the negative things, especially if they do you wrong. But then there was moments where you was caught up.
Yeah, and it
you
was
happy
beautiful.
when the
so
phone
much
got
fun.
ding and all those things like that. And you have to flip the script and think about, you know what? Thank you for that experience, because now that taught me how to not be treated, how to not treat somebody else. You know what I mean? I was able to learn from the business perspective. Okay, here's how I have to handle this moving forward. You know what I mean? So when I'm able to serve other team members and employees better in the future. So like for me, even from the relationships, you saw how you was treated in that relationship, you didn't feel well. You know what I mean? That person didn't make you feel well. Okay, now I know in this new relationship, if I start to see these signs, it's time to shift, So when we talk about change and releasing things, I think being grateful for the actual experience versus whether it's good or bad, I think that gives you an opportunity and a fresh start to be, to look forward to the future versus holding on to these things that needed to be released and these emotions and these experiences, and rather being, grateful for it. And so you can be able to say, you know what, thank you for that experience.
Yeah.
I am now a better person because I went through that, good or bad. I think that that moment of gratitude allows you to open up for, new experiences.
Yeah. I think in that fall season, something I guess that brings me comfort is it's just a season, just like all the other ones have been, and that it's accomplishing something in you. You know what I mean? Seasons change because we grow. Seasons change in terms of the earth because one set of life has to give way to new life. You know, the autumn leaves have to fall off so that we get the new spring flowers and we get the new fruits. And so knowing that each season has a purpose, and finding the beauty in all of it, you know, pausing to reflect.
Even so, how would somebody say, I might go even too deep, you know, when it's something as deep as, you know, a family member passing, you know, how do you handle that? And you know, approaching that situation.
Now, when you talk about things like that, things like death, things like grief, and things that I would categorize as intense periods of suffering, whether that's a loss of a job, whether that's a loss of a relationship, or, you know, like you said, the death of a loved one, that's winter to me. That's intense suffering.
So
That's
we're in winter now.
darkness. Yeah. So we're talking about winter. I think something that's interesting is winter is a season where it's really hard to be grateful, just like summer, right? Because it's a lot of a lot. So in the summer, it's a lot of joy. It's a lot of pleasure. It's a lot of distraction. And you can lose sight on the fact that God gave you all those good gifts. And in the winter, it's a lot of pain. It's a lot of isolation. It's a lot of hurt. It's a lot of disappointment. And in that, you can forget how good God has otherwise been to you beyond this thing that you're really sad about. And I think what a lot of believers, I think, get wrong about winter and about grief and about suffering is that being grateful means I'm not going to feel these difficult feelings, or I'm not going to feel this sadness, or I'm not going to process a sense of loss. And I don't think that that's something that God asks of us. I think we can be grateful and disappointed. I think we can be grateful and sad. I think we can be grateful and hurt. And how we maintain that posture of gratitude is, you know what, God, I hate this. This is awful. I would never have chosen this in a million years. But I trust you. But I know you know what's best. But I know that you keep the world in orbit, and somehow you can see the good in this beyond what I'm dealing with. And also, I think to take that suffering, take that pain, take that sense of loss, and use it to turn you toward God and keep that conversation going, as opposed to retreat. Because a lot of us, when the pain hits, we can't negotiate a good and generous God with our intense suffering. And so we retreat. We might still believe in God, but we're not praying. We're not talking to him because you're mad. It's like you mad at one of your friends, right?
Yeah.
I asked you to do this and you didn't do that. And so I'm not talking to you anymore.
Silent treatment,
right. I'm giving you a silent treatment, or I don't trust you, or I don't like you, or whatever the thing is. And so I think it is very important to feel the winter. And if I could use an analogy, right? I feel like what a lot of Christians do when you come to the winter in life is say, it's not cold. I'm not cold. It's sunny. It's summer.
The delusional
and
Christians.
you go outside without a jacket to prove that the winter is not affecting you.
And you out here freezing.
Right. And it's like, no, it's winter. But God is good. I'm going to put on my jacket. I'm going to, and what proverbially speaking, I'm going to grieve. I'm going to feel that sense of loss. I'm going to cry. I'm going to talk to some people. I'm going to take good care of myself. I'm going to protect myself. I'm going to put on those layers, of comfort that I need in this season. And so I think being aware, being honest about what you're feeling and dealing with that, I think it's like letting the wave crash as opposed to trying to push back the wave. So then the next season can come. But if we don't, we get stuck.
Wow.
Or that's how I feel.
Keep going. I don't know. You're talking. I'm listening. You talking that talk.
Yeah. I mean, I think grief, if you don't handle it, it comes back.
Yeah.
And it's not like you can just neatly tie it in a bow, but you gotta deal your feelings. I heard a quote one time. It's like pain demands to be felt. It doesn't care, what you got going on or how many other great things are going on in your life. And I mean, even, I've been grappling with certain relationships in my life and people who are going through some things. And you saw the other day, I called my nanny and I'm like, I can't watch my baby tonight. I need to lay down. I need to cry. I need a few minutes just for me. And I think we all need to be brave enough to feel those feelings. And I mean, this is somewhat unrelated, but if I could have gone back and told my younger self anything when I would go through breakups and disappointments, and even friend breakups, take the next day off from work. That's what I wish I could tell myself. Because I feel like people, when you are in a relationship with somebody, be it a friend, be it a boyfriend, be it a girlfriend, be it a fiance, that is a connection that means a lot to you, that you feel deeply. And even though this person is not dying, that relationship ending is the end of that connection. And that's something that you should grieve. And that's something that you should feel. There's so much language like, oh, if we break up, there's a Spanish saying that one of my friends taught me. It was like, one nail drives out another nail. Like, oh, if this boyfriend, or girls are like buses, miss one, next 15, one coming. It's like, no,
Shout out to Gucci
no,
Man.
that's not how people are supposed to work. When we connect, when that connection is broken, there's supposed to be sadness. There's supposed to be loss. This was not a toy. This was a human being that you cared about and that cared about you. And that connection is no more for whatever reason. Feel that loss. Treat it like you have the flu. Take a second and process that so you can keep going, because a lot of the promiscuous behavior, a lot of the drunkenness, a lot of the getting high, a lot of all of that stuff is because you're not processing.
You're trying to cope.
That grief. You're trying to tell yourself it's a beach day and it's snowing outside. That's how I feel.
You know what relationship that I didn't know you need time to grieve like that is like friendships, losing, especially in our adult life, transitioning with friends, like people you thought might have been your road dog till the end of time, and then life just, pull you apart, whether they move to other ends of the earth in other countries or whatever, or you just don't see life the same way. And like having moments to grieve those type of relationships, I feel like, dang, I didn't know adulting had that in its in its back pocket. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And we are all, again, we're almost charged up to be so narcissistic that it's like, oh, I don't care if I lose friends, or they didn't fit this season of my life, so on to the next. And it's like, this is somebody you loved. This is somebody that loved you. This is your friend. This is somebody you were going through life with.
You have core memories with.
Right. And you might realize that we've come to the end of the road, but it's still sad.
Yeah.
Like, you should still allow yourself to feel that sadness and to appreciate this is a loss. I think people way underestimate friendship breakups. I think they are.
Friendship breakups
in many cases,
deep.
they're more devastating because your friendships are typically longer than your dating relationships. So I much respect to the friendship breakup and the fact that it is a real loss to be grieved.
Yes. But once again, in those moments, you got to be grateful for the good times that you did have.
Exactly. Grateful for what those people taught you about life. Grateful for the encouragement that they gave you. Grateful, honestly, just for the good times and the laughs that you had together, and that's it too. Like, you can appreciate it. You don't have to wish them any ill will. It didn't work out, or you're not gonna, it just doesn't match. Like you say, you go in different directions in life. But in that season, it was good.
It was great. Yeah. Shout out to those friends.
Yeah. Okay. So we talked about, I guess, on a basic level, feeling gratitude or cultivating the feeling of gratitude. But let's talk about the practices of gratitude. Sometimes you say like, oh, be thankful. But the rent is due and you don't have the money and the baby is crying. This wonderful baby that you prayed to God for will not sleep and you are really annoyed.
It sounds personal.
How do you practice gratitude when it's not coming naturally?
I have no answer for that.
What'd you say?
I don't have no answer. I mean, I have to think on that. I didn't think on that. How do I... that's funny. How do I practice gratitude when it doesn't come naturally?
Mhm.
Mm. For me, in my adult life, I I try to live an intentional life. I feel like living an intentional life is very important because you can get lost, right? And obviously, when it doesn't come naturally to you, you have to put things
Mhm.
in place for you to create practices, right? So, me personally, I have a certain morning routine. I know everybody's like, oh, morning routines, but in my calendar, I literally have a meditation and grateful moment for like 5 to 10 minutes. Now, every day I may not do it, but I have that in my schedule. So that's a part of my my day to day normal activities. So for me, put literally just how I put my meetings in my calendar or date nights or whatever it may be, I put that in my calendar to have a moment of gratitude. So because I know I can forget, so that for me is being intentional in that moment. And then journaling, I feel, is a practical step I also take. And then even me and my friend was talking last night as well. Whereas journaling, you don't have to always have a big moment. Just write down whatever you feel like
Mhm.
you need to, let loose. And I feel like through journaling, through seeing my thoughts, it allows me to reflect and see how far I've come to. And especially with apps now, whether it be, you got your Apple app, your journal app, or you have a great app called Day One. Both of those give you like reminders on this day you did this, on this day you did that.
Yeah.
And I feel like having, journaled at those moments
Mhm.
allowed me to reflect on those moments and be like, wow, I was once there. So that allows me to be grateful, in that moment. So whether it's something that's not natural to you, I would literally put things in and your day-to-day practices, just how you would schedule a meeting, schedule a lunch with somebody, schedule a day, whatever, schedule a moment for gratitude.
Mhm.
And for me, top of the day is the best because that then puts my mind in a great perspective and a great, space to handle what's to come.
I think that's excellent. From a practical point of view, shout out to my parents.
Mhm.
And the reason that I say that is when I was younger, we said thank you all the time. You know,
Mm,
if somebody gave us a ride, thank you, Auntie so and so. It doesn't matter that she used to drive us every day.
mm,
She didn't have to. And even the practice of saying thank you. When my mother made us dinner at night, we would say thank you when we were finished with our food. If she made us breakfast, thank you. If she made us lunch, thank you. We were taught to thank people at times when you might not, or you know what I mean. If a waitress comes to my table, if she pours coffee, thank you. I don't care if it was her job. Like we have this notion like, oh well, it's her job, or well, my mother is supposed to make sure that I'm supposed to eat, and having that assumption that people are supposed to do something, therefore you do not need to say thank you, really tips over into entitlement. You know, people talk about trying to raise children in an atmosphere of certain wealth or privilege who are not entitled. And one of the simplest ways that you can do that is teaching them to be
gratefulness.
grateful. A
Mhm.
lot of when you meet entitled people, so to speak, the first thing that's obvious is that they are ungrateful. They feel entitled to everything. And I think that was really powerful from my parents, that everything and anything that somebody does for you is something that they chose to do
Mm,
of their free will, more or less. And it is incumbent upon you to be thankful. And I think that saying thank you, and obviously saying thank you to God for everything. And that's,
yeah.
it's something that I've cultivated and I'm still working on it. But again, it's down to the little things. If I eat something I really like, thank you, Lord. That was delicious. If I see a sunrise that I think is gorgeous and I was in a position to look at that sunrise, thank you, Lord. When I see a rainbow, thank you, God. And maybe I'll tell the butterfly story later, but because of what they mean to me, if I see a butterfly, I pause and I say, thank you, God. And so I think literally stopping, thanking strangers. If somebody holds the door open for me, thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Like literally practicing saying thank you. And then I think the other thing,
It's like a cure for entitlement, basically.
yeah, entitlement cure. Literally, there's a book that was written on it, and I did read John Townsend. He's one of the co-authors of Boundaries, and funny enough, they're Christian authors, but it's just a huge book about personal boundaries. But when they talk about the cure for entitlement, it's gratitude. It's being grateful, and it's the practice of saying thank you. The other thing that I think is stewarding whatever you have well, right?
So before you go in there, right? I just want to point out something when you were saying like, thank you, God, for this, right? And thank you, just praising God in those moments. As an adult, or rather when you grow up and you get older, you start to understand, especially if you had Caribbean parents, when they used to be walking around the house praising God, cleaning the house on Saturday, because life be life. And if you don't be thanking God, real talk, thank you, God, for bringing me through. I could have been XYZ, but because of you, God, and you used to be like, this woman, this
like,
person
what is happening?
crazy.
It's so loud.
But with Caribbean parents, you be like, wow, as you grow up, you be like, yeah, I see why.
Oh, yeah.
I see why you was playing that gospel music. I see why you was thanking Lord. Right? I see it now.
Them bills were due.
Right.
Them children was hungry.
You gotta thank God through them seasons. I was literally just thinking about that. I was like, wow, I see, as I grow up, I see now why our parents, these Caribbean parents, they was different.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
And that's the gospel truth. And like I said, I think the other tangible thing that you can do to be grateful is to steward whatever it is that you were given well, right? So let's just say, I remember one time my mom, she went to buy groceries or gave this lady some money for her kids. She was like, my kids don't have anything to eat or whatever. And there was a certain amount of money that my mother gave the lady. And my mom and the lady said to my mother, this is not enough money for ice cream. As in, not it wasn't enough money to buy ice cream, but ice cream needs to be on the list. And my mother was like, my children don't have any ice cream today. But it's like, I gave you money for food and you told me what you were going to spend the money on. You know what I mean?
Wow.
And it was like, you could have taken that money and said, okay, I'm going to buy rice and I'm going to buy this and I'm going to buy that. And my children are going to be set for a week. Thank you. But her knee-jerk reaction was, there's no dessert in this budget. And so it's like, that was somebody taking something and not being willing to steward it in a way that proved their gratitude. And proverbially speaking, I remember maybe, this is a new season of my life where there's not a lot of alone time. There's not a lot of quiet time. And I can feel a little just stretched pretty thin. And it was a particular day that, I don't know, I didn't want to cook or I just didn't want to be bothered. And I had this thought and it was like, let me go cook for this husband that I asked God for. Let me go be nice to this man that I beg Jesus to give me. I remember when I was single and I'm like, Lord, where's my husband? And please. And now I'm like, ugh.
I gotta do this every day.
This man, he want me to cook again?
Like, you just had lunch?
Leave me alone, bro. And I had this, I'm like, girl, you better go cook something.
I gotta be a wife every day.
Right. I know. All the time, forever. Like, this is wild. But it was like, okay, this is who I wanted to be. I wanted to be this person. And now I have this moment to be this person. And I'm tempted to be very mediocre at it. And it's like, okay, no, I gotta step up my game. To prove to God, not even to prove to you, also to prove to you, but to prove to God that I'm thankful for giving me the things that my heart desired. Same way with the baby. It's like, okay, I wanted this beautiful, healthy girl. I got to get up. I can't be lazy. Can't watch Netflix. I got to, play with her and make sure she's learning and she's growing and she feels my love. And the way that we take care of the things that God has given us is a form of gratitude.
1000%. Stewardship, I feel like we could do a whole episode on that. For me, that has been something that has, I feel like, separated me from the pack in many ways. I'll use an example from a work perspective. I work in the film industry, photography, and this stuff is not cheap. This stuff is very expensive. It's expensive in the US.
Mm-hmm.
By the time it reaches and ships to the Bahamas with all its taxes and everything, it's 2 times the price.
I was going to say 3. It's,
right.
It's 3 expensive.
Exactly. Than what it would normally cost. And when I work with people, because I see other people handle their gear so differently than I do. Rough, really. One of the main things I tell my guys when we work, I say, listen, guys, take care of the gear that take cares us.
Mm-hmm.
Like, don't treat our gear weird. You know what I mean? Don't treat it and abuse it. Steward it. Mm-hmm. Take care of the gear that literally take care of us. And that concept of stewarding over the stuff that God has given us has, I felt like, opened the doors for me for so much more opportunity, so much, better gear, because God knows, okay, if he could take care of this, I can give him more. You know what I mean? If he can take care of this small crew right now, I could give him a bigger crew. You know what I mean? If he could take care of this, this one client, treat them like an A+ client, I could give him another one of these clients, 2, 3 or 4 more of these clients, because I know how he treated this one, how he treated this one. I know he has a particular pedigree to him. He can take care of the rest. And sometimes we look to the left and look to the right. God, why I get this? Why I get this new car? I get this or whatever. And it's God's like, are you taking care of the beat up car that you currently have? I know that check engine light on right now, and you want a Mercedes? You know what I'm saying?
That's crazy.
That's crazy work out. If you can't fix the check engine light on your tire,
your putt-putt.
I was going to say Toyota, whatever. Maybe I didn't want to put nobody.
Toyotas,
no, I won't put no brand on blast. But if you can't fix the check engine light, if you can't put gas in that car, you think when that Mercedes bill come around, you gonna handle that bill? I'm speaking from experience. I wish I had the other brand bill versus my Mercedes bill or whatever it may be. You know what I mean? These things come responsibility, even from people talking about, oh, I want this big house and da-da-da-da-da. Be grateful for your apartment, because trust you me, that big house come with a big bill. I come with grass, what do you call it? Landscaping, bigger bills, bigger light bills and things of that nature. And God is like, listen, I've given you this. Don't despise small beginnings. You know what I mean? I'm giving you this right here. Show me that you can take care of this, because there's a process to get to these bigger things, to get to, some of the goals and dreams that you have. If you're skipping some of the processes, you're not going to be able to handle, the abundance, the summer, you know what I mean? So it's so important about stewardship that you handle what's in front of you to the best of your ability. That's showing God, you know what? I'm ready. Funny enough, where's my phone? You could pass my phone real quick, sorry. I literally have something on my phone screen. And I read this morning, funny enough.
It's not me.
Yeah, I know, right? But funny enough, this is during my workout, my fitness screen. It literally says, preparation is proof that you believe I'll do what I told you. And for me, that for me is stewardship.
Yeah.
Right? I'm preparing, I'm handling, I'm doing the things that I'm responsible for right now, so I can show God I am preparing myself for what you already promised me. The visions that you've shown me, the things that I've seen when I sleep and close my eyes and I dream. You know what I mean? I'm stewarding this right now. And this right now, this stewardship, this preparation is proof that God, I can handle this. And I feel like a lot of times we miss the mark in the small beginnings, stewarding this podcast. I'm even talking to myself right now, because right now with the low numbers or whatever it may be, starting this podcast, God's like, all right, you got 50 listeners.
Hello.
Steward them. You know what I mean? Prepare, show up, come prepared for your podcast. Don't take this, lightly. Like literally prepare. And then maybe I could open it up and expose this somehow to more people and things of that nature. But right now, you got to steward what you have in front of you. And I feel like a lot of times people miss the mark of that. And it all ties into gratitude, because are you grateful for the Toyota? I keep bringing up this car name,
Toyota.
but are you grateful for the small car?
Mhm.
Are you grateful
Right, good. And I
for
think
the small audience?
you have to don't forget too.
What do you
You
mean?
have to remember.
Mhm.
Again, I mentioned the fact I'm like, oh, I gotta cook for this man. It's like, oh, remember when I didn't have this man?
Mm.
Remember when I was floundering? and I'm not. It's funny too, because I looked at a group of my girlfriends, and they were all single. They were going out, and it was like a Tuesday, and they were out at like midnight. And I'm like, oh, I remember when I could do that. I literally said, I'm never alone these days. But it's like,
Mm.
on the flip side, when I was in that position, when I could go out until midnight on a Tuesday, my complaint was that I was always alone. You know
Mm.
what I mean? And so there's always something, and you can forget. You can forget what God has done for you. And recently I've been just listening to an audiobook, and it was talking about God's relationship with the children of Israel. And it's like these people could find a silver cloud for every ray of sunshine, because you have where they were in slavery, and they're like, God, help us, rescue us. God rescues them. Oh, you took us out of slavery and now we're going to die in the desert. He parts the Red Sea. Oh, you took us across this Red Sea and now you haven't given us any food or water. Gives them food or water. Oh, you gave us this bread. We don't like bread. Okay, quail. We're tired of this quail. And then the thing is, they don't just complain. They say it would have been better for
Mm.
us to be back in
In
slavery.
slavery.
And it's like, you have clearly forgotten. You forgot the fact that they used to beat you. You forgot the fact that they used to subjugate you. You forgot the fact that you
Mm.
didn't have a choice about working from sunup to sundown. And not only did you forget, you are insulting the person who brought
Brought
you
you
out
through.
of it
Mhm.
after you asked them to bring you out of it. And so you have to don't forget, like, now, literally you get up this morning, you got up at 5 and I really wanted to sleep and you couldn't find your exercise clothes. And I'm like, I'm annoyed. But it's like, guess what? There was a time when I would pray for you to want to get up and exercise in the morning.
Mm.
So you have to not forget. You have to remember that it wasn't always like this. You
Mm.
didn't always have these things. Keep that perspective on, there was a time
And on
when
the
this wasn't my blessing.
and on the flip side, not forgetting in the troubles, when if you're in the valley,
Mhm.
not forgetting that God brought you through many situations. Look
And he
forward
could
to
do it
that. He
again.
can do it again. I always try to put that story in perspective in my life, because I feel like we could get caught up complaining so much. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? Especially with how privileged the Western hemisphere is right now, in the Western world right now. Um, just from the simple fact of just the comparison theory
Mhm.
and social media and things of that nature, when we could see up front, people lives and how great they are versus, and then when you go home, you're looking at your life and like, oh, and it's like, what? God's like, what you? I brought you through all this, and this is how
Right. This
you.
is the things I
This is the
get.
things you get. But I would say this, right? When we put things into the perspective of relationships,
Mhm.
right? How do you feel gratitude has strengthened our relationships? Because you said something earlier about, your family being huge thank you people.
Mhm.
And I would say, I noticed that off rip, you tell me thank you all the time, And so how would you say gratitude has strengthened whether my relationship or relationship with your friends, business?
I think grateful people are more pleasant people.
Mm.
Funny enough, my dad, he coined a phrase that we say at church every week now. When somebody says, "How are you?" He says, "Thankful, grateful,
Grateful,
hopeful."
hopeful.
And what I find most impressive about that is that phrase was birthed out of a time when he was going through some very serious health challenges, and he was in a lot of day-to-day discomfort and pain. And I said, "Dad, how you feel?" He said, "I'm thankful to be alive. And I'm grateful for the health that I do have. And I'm hopeful that tomorrow will be better." And I think that when you shape your perspective, I'm thankful for the things that I'm getting from this relationship. I'm thankful for all the things my partner is doing for me. I'm grateful for the fact that I have a relationship, and whether that's a romantic relationship or not, I'm grateful for the fact that I even have this relationship at all. And I'm hopeful that tomorrow things will be even better. I think you're just easier to be around when you're
For
thankful.
sure.
When you think about children, right? When you buy them, take them to Disney World and you do X, Y, and Z. And at the end of the day, when them children are so happy, oh my goodness, thank you, mommy, or they're near tears when you tell them they're going to Disneyland. There's something satisfying about that. Or when they open the Christmas presents and they run over to you versus a child that's like, this Barbie is the wrong color, or
That's it.
I don't like this Disney where I think Universal is
You
better.
don't give me an express
Right.
pass?
There's something so irritating about people being ungrateful.
Right.
If you think of even dynamics with children, right? When they're ungrateful, there's something uncomfortable about that experience. People who are grateful are more pleasant to be around. I think sometimes it's as simple as that. Like, you're a happier person. When you're a grateful person, you're a happier person. And then
100%.
relationships, on the other hand, they require of you. They require for you to put away your selfishness. They require for you to show up for somebody as much or more as you show up for yourself. And recognizing that at least makes it feel valued. You know what I mean? I could probably tell you the things that I did for you today in my mind better than you could tell me. Because you'd be
Yeah.
like, oh, well, I mean, you made breakfast. Well, that's for everybody. Or you did this, you did that. And so I think that being grateful and expressing, because sometimes we feel grateful, but we don't express it. Expressing that gratitude moment to moment. Oh, thank you, honey, for getting my car washed. Thank you for paying the light bill. Like, thank you for all of these things that, yes, they're a part of our life. And yes, it keeps us going. But having somebody express gratitude makes it feel more satisfying.
Nobody does it. Nobody, or only, how do I put this? Only people who are dealing with, who have, okay, only people who have not dealt with their own trauma can accept a good thank you, I feel like. And for me, even from a business perspective, I use gratitude a lot because, especially the clients that work with me, like, thank you. Like, you did not have to choose me. There are other people that you could have chose, but you decided to go with me. Thank you. You know what I mean? And even from an employer perspective, like telling my employees or even people like work with freelancers and stuff like that, even when they tell me thank you, I'm like, wow, you know, they're grateful for this opportunity. Like, I put them on and they say thank you, or versus I put them on and then they don't say nothing and they go on and they feel like entitled, or you should have, you know. You do have a different energy. You know what? I'm gonna put this other person on because clearly this person ain't
Right. You
appreciating.
don't
You don't
appreciate it.
appreciate what I, you know, I've done in this moment. You know, so from any point of life, whether it be business, platonic, romantic, spiritual, like, gratefulness, just the simple thought of just saying thank you goes a long way.
I want to go on a slight tangent there, right? And I'm not going to speak to men right now. And men have their own thing. The podcast brothers
Also, be
have
and
their
then
own thing.
sorry,
But
go on.
I do want to speak to a trend that I see. When women praise their husbands or their partners online, oh, my husband bought me flowers today, or oh, he did a scavenger hunt, and I'm so thankful. And I'll see a lot of cynicism, like, why are you praising this man for the bare minimum? That's what he's supposed to do, X, Y, and Z.
Those all the single people in
Do
the
not
chat.
take for granted, but do not take for granted that people do what they're supposed to do. It's a lot of fatherless kids out here because of men didn't do what they're supposed to do. And in the same way, it's a lot of children abandoned by their mothers because they didn't do what they were supposed to do. Stop taking it for granted that just because somebody's supposed to do something, that it's easy, that they are guaranteed to do it, and that it doesn't require anything of them. You can say thank you just because you're thankful.
Wow.
I remember one time my dad, and so do I, we're messy people. We struggle. And this really bothered my mother for many years. And it was this one day, later on in their marriage, I was probably in my 20s, and I saw my mom picking up some clothes, and she was like, oh, here we go. I'm picking up these clothes after this man. And then she stopped and she said, but you know what? There are women who would kill for my problems. I don't got to worry about him. He don't
Mm,
embarrass me.
mm,
He pays them bills on time.
mm,
I'm going to pick up the clothes. You know what I
mhm.
mean? So I do think we have to, gratitude is not saying that you're doing me a favor. It's just appreciating somebody for doing what they're supposed to do. And everybody needs encouragement and everybody deserves some encouragement.
I would say when I send wifey the receipts from bills paid,
What does she say?
she be like, "Thank you, baby, thank you." She definitely.
I
For
gotta
some,
encourage
that's
you.
what I was supposed to do. But what you say? Yeah, I
I'm
gotta encourage you.
encouraging you. But that's the
She's like,
thing,
I gotta
right?
encourage you. Yeah, right.
But
But
whatever
no, it does still
you
make me feel good.
reinforce.
I'm not gonna lie. Even though that's what I'm supposed to do, like, yeah, you better be grateful. Thank you.
I
But no, it does make me
do.
feel good. So thank you for that.
You're
And once
welcome.
again, you say that's my responsibility, but at the same time, just you saying thank you,
Mhm.
it means a lot and encourages me.
In bringing it to a close, I think it's best that we end kind of how we started, right?
Mm-hmm.
We talked about Thanksgiving and we talked about this season to pause and to reflect on the things that we are grateful for. And so I kind of want both of us, and then all of you to consider these things. So I want you to name one thing that you are thankful for from your past.
From my past,
Mhm.
I'm grateful for Bahamas Faith Ministries. I
Mm.
was just having a conversation with somebody the other day, and I was grateful for what your father, but in particularly, Dr. Miles Monroe and how he stewarded us as well, that I was able to obtain from a young age in my environment. I am most grateful for that. I'm most grateful for the men in my life and how they raised me. Um, this is kind of off topic, but like things that a lot of people deal with when it comes to like men lying, cheating, infidelity, not being accountable to their word. I was really not exposed to that in my parents' circle.
Mhm.
Like the men that I look up to, the men in my parents' circle, they were not those men. They wasn't embarrassing their family. They didn't have outside children.
Mhm.
They was in church every Sunday. They made sure we was in church every Sunday. They were real men. And I feel like because of them, the foundation that they've laid for me and my cousins, like I am very grateful for that because now me in my adulthood and my parenting, I see why those things were so important. And particularly even with my father, like I could walk in the room and not hold my head down
Mhm.
because of the man that he was and the wisdom that he's instilled in me. I am beyond grateful because now I can be that for you. I could be that for Zayla. I could be that for the women in my life and the men and the friendships that I have. Like, and I know now the type of men that I want to bring in my life and my children to be surrounded by. They're going to be a men of accountability, men who honor their wives, men who are not going to bring shame to their family. So I feel like for me, it's a mixture of Bahamas Faith Ministry and the leadership of Dr. Monroe, and then my father and the men that was in my life
Mhm.
and currently in my life, including your father. Like I'm very grateful for that.
Okay, so that was a great answer in terms of one thing that you are grateful for from your past. And the next question that I'm going to ask myself, and I want everybody to ask themselves,
Mhm.
is what is one thing that you're grateful for in your present?
Mm,
And so I'll take this one in the
okay.
interest of time, and that is to be surrounded by beautiful friendships.
Mm,
And especially in this season, right? This season of transitioning to becoming parents. First, we got married, then we became parents, and that was such a shift in terms of the dynamic of free time that I had. And I was so much more able to pour into my friendships in years past. But I'm so grateful to my friends for being patient with me, for being so loving and still showing up for me, even at times when I'm not able to show up for them, for showing me that grace and pouring love on me, there are many women and men, but many women that I know who don't know what it's like to have really beautiful friendships, pure relationships with people who genuinely care for you
mm,
and wish you the best. And I know that that's a privilege. And so I'm truly grateful for that. And I'm thankful for the value that they put into my life and the value that I'm able to pour into their lives. And I do think it's really a luxury.
mhm.
And I don't take it for granted.
Can you also be, with that being said, can you also be grateful for the future? I feel like you could.
Oh, yeah. So I think I mentioned the fact that we have this saying at church: we're thankful, grateful, and hopeful, right? And so I think we manifest our gratitude, so to speak, for the future with hope. We have those things that we hope for. Faith is the substance of things that we hope for. And so I think we can be grateful in that. I do hope the best for my children. I do hope that we have more children. I hope that our businesses continue to flourish. I hope that this podcast pops off and people far and wide listen to it and that they are blessed by it. And so I do think that you can be grateful for the future by virtue of hope.
I agree with that.
What's one thing that you hope for?
I'm a little different on that. I'm like, God, I thank you in advance. I'm thank you for where you're taking me. I'm thank you for the doors that you're opening for me. I'm thankful for, the people that are going to be impacted just from this episode alone. I thank you in advance. That's something that I tend to do a lot. I'm like, I'm going to ante it up and be like, I thank you in advance already because I already see the play in motion. I see what's happening here. I'm thanking you now for the blessings that's about to come.
Going.
Yeah.
I love that. Well, I think this has been a great show for today. I do kind of want to leave you guys with some practices. So we talked about practicing the art of saying thank you at every moment, whether that be to God, whether that be to the server in the restaurant, whether that be to the person that helps you in the food store, whether that be to your friends for just showing up for you or your partner for all of the little things that they do. Practicing thank you. Think about all the things that you have to be grateful for. If you find yourself stuck in a negative loop, write down all the things that you are blessed with. Sometimes we don't know what we have until we don't have it. You don't know how great it is to have your ankle not broken until it breaks. So thank God for all of the little things. Pause and reflect, and then figure out how you could steward all of the gifts that you've been given in such a way that it says thank you to God. Any final thoughts?
Final thoughts, even with you just saying something just now, right? We take for granted all the simple things that we have in our mind. I heard somebody say something like this, right? If somebody asks you, hey, I'll give you $1 million for that arm, would you give them $1 million? Would you take your arm off and give them $1 million?
No.
That's valued. Let's just say at $1 million. If someone say, hey, just one of your legs, I got amputated, they could just put it on me. Give me $5 million for one of your legs.
Wow.
Would you say yes?
I mean, now I'm thinking about it, but still no.
You probably won't get it. We had 6 million already. Yeah. If someone say, you know what, just give me your eyesight. $20 million right now. Give me your eyesight. $25 million. Really? You won't give me $20 million?
No.
So think about that. God, I get to wake up today. I see, I can walk, I can feel. You know what I mean? God, I'm thankful. This morning I woke up and exercised. God, I thank you for the ability to exercise. You know what I mean? I'm not where I want to be, but I'm thankful that I have the opportunity to do that. So I think from that perspective, you have to understand the things in your life on a day-to-day basis are valued at so much. Because if it's gone tomorrow, you'll be the main one crying like, God, why? You know what I mean? But thank God for what the simplest things, and you'll see just the shift in your atmosphere and your mood and how you treat people. So yeah, that's what I would say. I'll end on that note. All right, guys, it's been an awesome episode. We just thank you so much for tuning into the Fun and Harmony podcast. This episode was centered around, gratefulness. And this Thanksgiving, at the dinner table, make sure to tell the people that you love how much you appreciate them and how much you're just grateful for them being in your life. All right. With that being said, until next time.